My name's Randall Rissman, or as they call me in Woodstock, New York, Old Dr. Rissman. I'm still a licensed doctor in New York, but now I don't have to write notes in a chart or a computer. I don't have to do any billing. People call me all the time for advice, though.
I'm Barbara Rissman. I'm Randy's wife. We've been married for almost 50 years. Randy and I met in Jerusalem in 1971. I was a student at Boston University, and he was a student at the University of Iowa. Part of the reason I chose that program is because my mother was a Holocaust survivor, and growing up, I had a strong interest in Israel. At first, I really didn't know him that well. He was just one of the people in the program. My roommate and I were sitting on the lawn talking about what we're going to do for this month off. She was saying she'd like to go to Italy, but I said I'd like to go to Greece. Randy was nearby and he overheard the conversation and he came over to me and said, "I'll go to Greece with you." And I looked at him like, I really didn't know him very well at that point. And I thought it was kind of presumptuous. A few days later, walking on campus, he came up behind me and said, "I was serious. I'd love to go to Greece with you." And somehow at that moment, I thought, well, I would like to go to Greece, and it would probably be better traveling with someone than alone. And I decided, okay, I'll go to Greece with you. But I made it clear from the beginning, look, this is not a romantic thing, we're going as friends. I made it pretty clear what the boundaries were, and we set off on our adventure.
She's beautiful, and she was fun. She liked to adventure. She wanted to travel, see things, learn things, knew a lot of history. And so when we traveled together, and at one point we went to Greece and Turkey for a month traveling together, but she kept me at arm's length during that. It became romantic later on. But we became good travel partners. We appreciated each other. We were nice to each other, and there's something to say about being best friends before you're romantic.
He was really a great traveling companion, and I found that we really enjoyed the same things. We were both really interested in seeing the sights and learning the history, and he really respected the boundaries. I knew he really liked me, and I knew that I could flip that at any moment if I wanted to. I really felt like he was always there for me, like he would do anything for me. I knew he really loved me. And I guess it was around the spring of that year that I decided to give it a go, and it became a romantic relationship.
Eventually, I got her to come out to Iowa, where I was starting my second year of medical school. So when we found out after my training they needed a doctor in Woodstock, it seemed like a good fit.
He's a genuinely caring person, and that's what made him so good as a doctor. It wasn't just about, does this person have a sore throat or hurt their elbow? Like, who is this person? Who's in their family? What else is going on in their lives? And that's why when he started his practice, patients started hearing about him and coming from far and wide. He treated each person with so much dignity and respect, and he went to bat for people.
Having a personal doctor who knows who you are, who knows your family, who's taking care of generations, who actually cares about you, is a member of your own community, is of great value. It's actually been a luxury and an honor to be a family doctor in a small town, and what you give to everybody, and you see amazing things, miracles, successes, people you've touched in so many ways, And you've also helped people through losses and tragedies and terrible things. But you get back from this in a small town.
I got a call from my sister, who was staying with my mother, who was really declining at that time. And we went to visit her in the hospital, and after a couple of days, she was ready to go home. And Randy, he wasn't feeling well, and he said, I better get out of here because I shouldn't be around, and get everybody sick. So he flew home, and my sister and I stayed with my mother. And each day I was calling him to see how he was doing.
My wife calls me. She said, "Randy, how are you doing?" I said, "I'm not really doing that well. My chest hurts, I'm coughing, my heart's pounding, I feel terrible." She says, "Do you want me to call a doctor friend to come over and look at you, see how you're doing?" I said, "No, that won't be helpful. I appreciate the sentiment. I think I'm going to call 911.
So when I heard him say that, I knew he was really sick and really worried, because as a doctor, he would never call 911, unless he was really concerned.
They took me to a local hospital, and a very, very smart physician assistant, she was really paying attention. I get the CAT scan. "Dr. Rissman, there's mild pneumonia. You can treat it with Zithromax, take a Z-Pak, you'll be fine, your blood tests look fine, everything looks fine, but I have to tell you this, there's something wrong with your pancreas." That would not have shown up on a regular chest x-ray, it didn't show up in the blood work, but that was my miracle here. A month later, I get an MRI scan, still no tumors, nothing to see, but I have a big duct that's dilated. I end up at Albany Medical Center, where they did put a tube down into my stomach, an ultrasound, and on that ultrasound, they found a small, little chickpea-sized tumor blocking the duct. I go down to Sloan Kettering, and on March 14th, I'm having surgery. The next day, New York City shut down for COVID. They removed half of my pancreas, the spleen, and did the lymph node dissection and a little work on the arteries and veins. But I came home and had to live with this anxiety that I realize most patients live with. When are you going to get the results? So about 8 days later, I get a call from the surgeon. And he says, "Well, what it showed was a neuroendocrine tumor." And I knew this was a possibility, but a rare possibility. He said, "It looks like we got it all out." There isn't a day that's gone by since then that I don't wake up or look outside or stand in awe of the fact that I didn't have what they thought I had. Adenocarcinoma of the pancreas is a very bad disease with a bad prognosis, and every day I appreciate what I didn't have. And although this is still a thing, and I've been through all kinds of treatments, and it eventually spread to my liver, but I don't have what they thought I had. And so the best way for me to think about that is just to be thankful for that. This is where the story is humbling to me, because I'm thinking optimistically all along, and all of a sudden, January 2025, I get scanned, and I've got new tumors, and the new tumors went in my liver. They went from little pea-sized things to big cherry tomatoes. So if the diameter is 4 times bigger, the volume could be 12 times bigger. So my tumors in 4 months were 10, 12 times bigger. So I've now finished 10 months of CAPTEM, the chemotherapy for this, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks out. It has not lowered my blood counts. It hasn't affected my liver kidney function. My platelets are okay. I haven't had any blood signs of this. It makes you tired. I think the fatigue's hard to measure, but I think I'm much more tired. Sometimes there's nausea, but we have much better nausea pills than we did 10, 20 years ago. The first set of scans after starting this, they shrunk back up to little peas. They really responded to this. They shrunk. It was working, and impressively working.
I hear some stories about what could be lying ahead. I do worry about what would it be like to be alone, because Randy and I have been together for 50 years and we share everything. And I can't even imagine it. It's scary.
People, in their well-intentioned ways and very heartfelt ways of trying to encourage you when you have something, and most patients know this, I'll keep you in my prayers. You need to think good thoughts. Oh, you're getting scanned next week. Well, think good thoughts when you go into the scanner. And I'm thinking to myself, my good thoughts are not going to change what the radiologist sees. It's not going to be varied by my thinking about this. It is what it is. But I don't talk that way anymore to people who are giving me good wishes. I've learned to be more gracious and to just accept it and appreciate the goodness and the good vibes and the good wishes of everybody, whether that it makes me feel better and helps me cope with this, even if it's not going to change what the radiologist sees.
Randy and I both have the attitude that we need to stay present and do the best we can do with the situation we find ourselves in. That was something that I really learned from my mother. And I remember a friend's daughter was listening to my mother, was asking her questions about my mother's experience during the Holocaust, and she went through, as you can imagine, horrific experiences. And this young girl said to her, "How do you stay so friendly and upbeat and optimistic, and you're just such a vivacious person, given everything that you went through?" And my mother said, "I just believe that you have to do the best you can do with whatever situation you find yourself in." And I think that's the philosophy that I have in life, and I think Randy too. Even though he's been through very difficult treatments, and it is a scary diagnosis. We don't know what's coming next. We don't know when. We don't know how. We know that someday things will get very bad. But there's also a chance that you can live for a long time with this condition, and there are a lot of different treatments available. We both just try to enjoy all the things we love to do and do the best we can with each situation that we find ourselves in.
We have done our best between COVID and neuroendocrine tumors to live a very active life. I'm probably not as in physical condition that I used to be, but we have traveled all over the place. We've been on a lot of adventures.
Randy, since he's retired, he really has gotten into cooking. He's an excellent chef, which is a good perk for me.
I love to cook. We have dinner parties. We get together with friends.
We have a wonderful community of friends here in Woodstock. Randy just celebrated his 74th birthday in August. We had 80 people come who were just local friends. We're going to have our 50th anniversary in June, and we were thinking of what happens if we invite our local friends and then also invite our friends who live out of town, and what if our kids from California and our cousins from California and it would be like 200 people, and where would we have it? what would we do? But we do have, we're fortunate like that we have so many people, and people have been wonderful supports.
If you're going to do it now. I would tell my patients, life is not a race. There's no reward to get to the end soonest. Just slow down and enjoy the trip. Certain times I felt, gee, I retired early. I thought I would last longer, but now I'm so happy I retired at 65 and had a chance to just chill and just be and enjoy all of this.